everybody. Welcome back to the Danna-Gift show. I'm your host, Danna-Gift, and I have my guest here with me, Bri Morrison. Bri is the founder of CEO of Buff and Paid, a multi-seven-figure coaching company, helping women start and scale their online health and fitness coaching businesses. Her true passion is empowering others to truly know themselves and reprogram their minds and bodies to attract success. So if you've ever met Bri in person, you'll immediately know that she is a super high vibrating human. I mean, you could probably even feel her energy from the camera. Always the life of the party. She's always got such a positive outlook on life, and it's super infectious. She's really built herself from the ground up, and she's really built a strong community of women. So Bri's been able to dial in just about everything in her life, and there's one situation that we're going to talk about today that has caused a little bit more of a challenging year, and I'm happy that you're here opening up about that. So I met Bri a while ago, and I've been drawn to her from your desire to change the world, honestly, and the way you talk about people and energy, and it's just very infectious. So she's a beautiful soul with so much depth and layer, and so super grateful that you're here with me.
Yes, and, girl, you are prepared. I love it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get better at my intros. Last time when I was on the podcast with Dylan, it was just didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I'm getting a little better. Yeah. Before we dive in, how are you feeling?
I feel good. I'm excited.
Good.
Yeah. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I feel like I haven't done an interview in 2 weeks, and now I'm a little off my game.
No, you're doing great. It's all in your head.
Oh, thank you.
Which we'll talk about.
See, exactly. This is what if I ever have a moment of where I'm I don't know if I'm doing good, Bri's always no, it's in your head. Get over it.
It is. It's all in our head. So.
Which is true.
Yeah.
So let's start from the beginning. I want you to tell us, first of all, how you got to where you are today. You didn't grow up rich, right?
Not at all. No, it's funny. My dad was literally just here, and it's, as you guys probably know, when you're around your parents and you just, most of us go away from our parents. I feel like our friend group we're all transplants.
Yes.
And so you go away from your parents, you're doing all this inner work, and then you go back to your parents and you're like, oh yeah, that's that. So, and Dad, if you're listening, but I would say he even will admit, he's very negative. You know, my mom I'm from Montana. My mom was broke growing up, scarcity, youngest of 7 kids, lived on a farm. So definitely was raised very Christian, religious, a lot of shame around money in the beginning.
When you say shame around money, as in
making money, it's bad to make money. You're not a good person if you have money, basically.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily conscious like that, but there's just a lot of subconscious, below consciousness stuff, programming through generations of everyone can relate, right? We all 100%. Have that in our family, and I feel like each generation gets more and more aware. But just how I got here was, I would say God made me an entrepreneur. I definitely, from age, I read How to Be a Teenage Millionaire when I was 9 years old.
Stood up. I've never heard of that book.
It was, I don't even know. It was this really thick book with all these business ideas. So I started a jewelry business when I was 9 years old. And
at 9 years old?
And I started a babysitting business at 10, and I had flyers all over. So I would say I'm naturally an entrepreneur, but definitely from knowing at age 9 till probably not popping off till I was 27, right? 20 years of just trying stuff. So definitely just all reprogramming, which we'll talk about today. How you think?
I mean, so did you, when you say you felt like you were born an entrepreneur, did you feel like you were always going to be wealthy? Or was it more of the desire to create something like a business?
Yeah, I don't think I knew I was going to be wealthy at a young age, but it was funny, when I graduated high school when I was 18, I went down to Texas to become a worship leader for this religious ministry or whatever. And if you're a Christian or in your religion, there's prophecy, which is someone prophetically telling you the future. Mm-hmm. So I was prophesied over a few times actually that I was going to make a lot of money. I was told I was going to help millions of women and make millions of dollars. When I was about 19. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that really started shifting. And that internship was really good because we did it was all Christian based, but it was a lot of look yourself in the mirror, tell yourself you love yourself, just self-love stuff. It was good.
Well, that's important to learn from the beginning. I feel like the whole concept of love yourself and like look at yourself in the mirror. I didn't learn that until about 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. So it's a new concept to me. And even being in front of the mirror by myself, feeling sexy was new. And I hadn't experienced that until I lived by myself, but
yeah, no, for sure. That's a big tip. Live by yourself.
Yeah. That's true.
It really helps when you can just get to know yourself so much. So.
Wait, how long have you lived by yourself for?
It's about 3.5 years now. I've lived by myself a few times, but yeah, like actually successfully living by myself, like 3.5 years. Yeah. I mean, my one ex lived with me for like a little bit, like 6 months probably.
Yeah. Okay. I want to know when you started to reprogram your mind into the more money mindset. Was there like a process that you had to go through or?
Yeah, for sure. It was probably really, like I said, there were so many, if you look back on your life, there's so many seeds, right? From like when you're little and just so many things that come together. But it really was just when I hired my first business coach. Like, I maxed out my last 2 credit cards. Like, I was super in credit card debt and just broke, like a lot of people. And, yeah, I just, right away, when I paid for the coach, I learned all the strategy, but it was right away, like, mindset stuff. Like, listen to this and do this. And I read You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero.
Yeah, I love those books.
Yeah, she's so funny, and I definitely have, like, you graduate from those kind of books because that's a very like beginner book.
Yeah. It definitely is. That was my beginner book.
It's literally perfect for someone who's brand new to this. And now I read like quantum physics type books and like true manifestation. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it was really just paying a coach. I was like, all right. I just started learning about affirmation. I don't even know. I just started watching YouTube videos. Yeah. And once you read a book like that, your brain is just like wants more and more and more.
Yeah.
And maybe you're in that season, it's like you just want to binge all this stuff. And you don't even apply it in the beginning necessarily. No. You just, all this information of books and YouTube and podcasts, and then eventually you start applying it some people do. Yeah. Most people don't.
Some people just read it and they're like,
a lot of people do.
Did you think that manifesting was at any point like foo-foo shit? Because I used to think that when I was younger.
I'm trying to think when I first heard about like manifesting. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm maybe different than other people. I've always had the gift of like faith. Like growing up, I was always the risk taker. I was just like, just do it, just jump, just do this. Like I was never really afraid to make mistakes.
Yeah.
That kind of got conditioned out of me as I, probably around like 15, my story of like the sexual abuse and stuff, like I started to like lose my confidence really, which I think happens to a lot of, especially women, like when you're a preteen and guys, you kind of like have that childlike risk and fun and depending on your personality, and then as you start, getting into the adult world, you lose that. But so I would say I've always been just open to everything, so probably less of a that's bullshit than other people.
I kind of want to dive into your past and your sexual abuse if you're comfortable talking about that, because I feel like it is relevant to what we're going to be talking about in a bit here.
It's all connected. Everything's connected.
It really is.
It really is.
So let's talk about that. You said you experienced it when you were 15. Is that?
Yeah. I was, same thing. If you have an entrepreneurial spirit, I feel like you're very sexual usually and curious.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think that that's just energy?
It's creative energy. Yeah. Most people that are naturally entrepreneurial are more sexual because it's like creative energy, like that desire to have sex. If you can channel it, it's sexual transmutation, right? And Think and Grow Rich. Like, if you could channel that into like other things, it really helps. So
sex is a very powerful manifestation.
Very powerful energy. I mean, it is. It's the completion. It's like mass. It's like the whole thing coming together and like creating something, and it's masculine and feminine, right? Because you need masculine. We could rabbit trail on this, but you need masculine energy to do and create and plan and act, and then you need feminine energy to receive and to flow and to like just be.
Yeah,
all that stuff. So
it's a hard balance.
Yeah,
that's something I'm still learning on. I mean, if you guys have tuned into the other podcasts, I think masculine and feminine energy is something that we've been talking about a lot.
It's huge right now.
Yeah. Because I think we're so thrown out of whack.
I've seen it's just, I was raised very traditional, but I just think there's something to be said about, masculine. I think balance on both ends, but like, women are becoming men and men are becoming women. So, and there's no, you know, we got to be sensitive today, I understand, and everyone has their stuff, but I just think it's so powerful to have, you know, the husband and the wife and the family unit and just have that. It's just really, really powerful for a lot of reasons. But that's a whole other podcast probably.
Yeah, so, that's a whole different thing.
But what was the original? Oh, it was manifestation foo-foo, right? Is that what you said? Or
no, I wanted to dig into your
okay, we're onward.
Yep.
I'm super OCD, so I'm like, did we finish that?
No, question? I'm the same. That's why I have this list of questions. Keep me on track.
Yeah, you just want to know kind of that's how that affected me? Or?
Yeah, and also, for context too, before she dives into this, we're going to tie this into how this relates to her most recent relationship and how that kind of affected, you know, her bank account, her personal life, and just all these other different things. So I'd like to hear about that so we can get some context on.
For sure. It really, like I said, I've been saying, it all goes together. Yeah, like I said, I was very curious growing up, and I had a lot of sexual energy just naturally, I noticed. Like, looking back now, I can see, like, I was just very curious. So I would, like, go in, like, sex chat rooms when I was, like, 9 years old.
Oh, my gosh.
Literally while you too? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the internet came out with us, right?
Yeah.
Remember it came out, how old are you? 30?
I'm 32, turning 32.
That's right. We're literally the same age. We're a month apart. We do, right? But yeah, like the internet came out when we were like 9. So I would go on like Neopets, and do you remember Neopets? Did you do that?
I was just AOL chat.
AOL,
Those sex
They
rooms.
had sex rooms.
Those sex
They
rooms.
had sex rooms. Yeah, so that I could just see, like, again, whether you believe it's like, you know, I was raised in the Christian faith, so it's like, I think it's like a dark energy, like the enemy or Satan or whatever. It was like planting those seeds in me to lead me to that. While I'm very grateful for that, because it was just part of my story.
Right.
But I can just see, I mean, my dad was with me this weekend, so and if he sees stuff, I try to speak kind of filter. Like, he knows, like, he just wasn't able, what he opened up to me about this weekend is, like, think of a dad, right? And you have this little girl, and she's your whole freaking world, and then you find out, like, he would, like, catch me going on the internet and stuff. So anyways, it's all connected, but I just think I was looking for love in all the wrong places, but also just curious.
Yeah.
And so that was that, and then it just led me to, I remember feeling shame around it when I started to realize what it was, because I didn't really know what sex was. So I started to feel shameful about it, which led me into more just curiosity. It's like when you aren't supposed to do something, you want to do it more.
So you did it behind closed doors kind of thing.
So I was, like, watching porn. Like, I was, like, going into all of this by, like, 12, 13.
Yeah.
I got kicked out of 8th grade for sending naked photos to a guy. Yeah, like, it's funny, as I was talking about this, I pulled a card today, and it was like, just be yourself and open up about your true story. So I'm like, should I even share this stuff? But I think all of us can relate, and it's 2021.
Yeah.
20. Did I just say it's 2021?
Yeah.
It's 2023. So we're all talking about this. But yeah, it's just obviously, so it's funny because I went to my parents, like, I wore a purity ring and everything. Like, I was going to wait till I was married. I have a journal. I still have it. Hubby, if you're watching this, it's for you. But I have a journal. I would, like, write him letters growing up. So I can just see how, like, and we'll get to the point of how I'm being redeemed, how it's all coming back full circle. And, like, I will have that husband. But, yeah, so I was talking to an older guy on MySpace. He picked me up, and...
Oh my gosh, MySpace, yep.
Yeah, he picked me up. I was 15, and he was, like, 19. And we're, you know, I'm young, and we're just in the back seat making out, and I didn't even realize what I was date raped, you know? And I just was like, okay, wow, like, I knew what was happening when it happened, but I also, like, didn't. And I've been doing a lot of work around that this year from this relationship that I was in. Like, I had looked at it, but I just never really went into depth of, like, the lies I was believing to put myself in that situation, and, like, how I was looking for all this love, where it's a very textbook story. It is, but it's my story. And yeah, I just can see how that moment, like, I had been feeling shame, but, like, that was, like, the ultimate shame. And I remember I instantly took on the identity of slut. And I remember that became my identity. And, like, obviously, if you feel like you're a slut, your self-worth is so low.
Yeah.
And so that's what I just think from 15 to about 26 was just low self-worth overall, which resulted in shitty boyfriends, overdrafted bank account, job, getting fired from every job. Just, I struggled for 10 years solid with that. Yeah. And I can just see almost, like, the rape and then going into, like, just sleeping with everybody and, like, not everybody, but you know what I mean? Like, I just kind of, like, partying, getting blackout, like, threesome. Like, I did all of that. Like, I was wild. Yeah. But I can see that's because I had such a big calling inside of me and I didn't have anywhere to put that energy. I didn't have any mentorship or guidance. So I'm just putting it into this partying lifestyle, which so many people can relate and are still doing and might not even admit to themselves.
Because it's easier. It's easier to just find a party and black out and drink and rather than deal with the deeper things that you could have. But also, you know, you were young. Like, you
don't know.
There's no awareness around it. Like, you don't know what you don't know. And unless you seek it or somebody puts it right in front of you.
Yeah. And just when you grow up, too, it's just naturally your brain changes. So.
Yeah, because I wasn't thinking about how to better my life at 18 or 19. I was just thinking about school.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, exactly. I started to think about it when I was like 19, but like from like 15 to 19, it was very like, but you can see the like the break of like when I was 15 and the rape, and then it was like down to the pits basically, and then you can see the progression up to like now I'm 31 where like I don't have sex. Like, you know, like I'm very much about the next man that I'm with will be my husband. Like, just very back to almost what the original intent was of my parents. But it's like I had to go through that whole... we all do, right? We have to go through this personal journey to, like, make it my own. Yeah. Right? So...
Even with career choices and everything, I feel like we have to explore the different things that we enjoy. And then sometimes it comes full circle.
It really does. Like, because you have the, like, even your podcast, and I know you've been kind of trying different things. And
so many different things.
Even me, it's like, I love... No, we love it. And, like, I love Buff and Paid, but it's like, I was just talking to Brittany. It's like, the other day, I'm like, what's next? You know, like, what else?
Yeah. And I was going to ask you, is Buff and Paid, was that, like, your dream? Do you feel like that? No, okay.
But it's all, the thing about all of this, guys, if you're watching this and get it, and even you, girl, it's like, it's all just the same. If you realize it's you, right? And everything is a training ground, and we're literally not supposed to know what's next, right? Like, we get the vision, like, God will give us little visions, we'll get ideas, we'll manifest, but, like, manifest 101, if we want to get into just all the manifestation tips, is, like, you're not supposed to know how. Right? You kind of have the
you just
what.
Gotta feel like this feels good. So I'm going to pursue that.
And even people will be like, I'm going to start this company and do this. But it's like, if you can take away from the like the actual physical thing, but it's more, what is the feeling that you're chasing? What is the experience that you want? It's the impact. It's the purpose. It's the fulfillment. Like, so that might transition into something else. That might blow up and be the thing forever. That could completely fall apart. But when you're unattached... and you're just focusing on the feeling and feeling the feeling right now, it will always just, what's meant to be will be there for you. So that's where I'm at, where, like, Buff and Paid was the vehicle that got me here. But I've learned to just, I don't even set goals anymore. Like, I just literally focus on how I feel.
You're kind of just letting it flow.
Yeah, which, that's the new thing now, is flow, but... But you need both still, like, and that's, even this last relationship took me too far in the flow and the feminine. But now I've had to bring back the masculine, where my theme for this year is balance. Like, I'm just very balanced, masculine and feminine. And I know when to be masculine and when to be feminine now. And I'm growing, of course. But, yeah, Buff and Paid wasn't, like, that just kind of happened. Because I was a fitness coach. And then it was, like, all these girls were like, how are you doing this? And it just naturally happened. That's what I'm saying. Don't be too attached to things. Just, like... notice where people compliment you and how things naturally happen, and just have fun with it.
Ooh, that's already a golden nugget, people.
Yeah. So, yes.
Well, talking about the feeling and flow, and like when you have a good feeling, that's what you follow. I guess this is a good pivotal point that we can transition into the relationship that you were in. Yeah. Because in the beginning, when you guys first started dating, it was a great feeling, right?
Yeah.
Can you explain how that whole thing kind of transpired. So, mind you, first of all, how long were you guys in this relationship for?
Like a year and a half, probably.
Year and a half? Okay.
Yeah. Most of my relationships have been, like, around a year and a half to 2 years. Okay. And that's why I've noticed it's, like, each one was, like, I think my husband's going to be all of them in one. It's, like, I had to, like, learn from each thing, basically. But, yeah, it's funny. And, again, it was pretty recent, but it was one of those things. I had just gone to a Joe Dispenza retreat, my first one. Which, if you guys know what that is, it's like a 7-day sit in a room, meditate for 8 hours straight. Intense, yeah. Like you wake up at 4 a.m. to do the pineal gland meditation because that's when your stuff is active, I guess. And it was another level of manifestation. They made us make these like vision videos, which I had actually shared with Nick, and then like so it's like it's all yeah.
Wait, is that how Nick started his vision videos?
I don't want to say that's how I started, but I think
he got inspired.
He probably had several nuggets or ideas from people, but yeah, we definitely talked about it, and I shared that video with him. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it was literally just I was so clear on like I'm manifesting my husband, I'm manifesting this in my business. Like I was just so freaking clear on the vision. But again, it wasn't necessarily like the actual person. Like I didn't care how they looked or stuff like that. It was more just the feeling I was in. Which the feeling I was in when I met him was like confident. Like I'm that bitch. Like I know who I am. I'm a wifey. Yeah. I remember we met like when I was like drunk in Mexico, obviously, and like I remember just telling him the list because up to the time we had met, I had been just by myself in my house in the mirror every single night, most of the time smoking a joint, but in the mirror just like telling myself like Bri, you're a wifey, you're you're beautiful, you're worthy, all those things, like just totally doing the work. And then I met him just very confident. So
do you think it was a timing thing because you were in such a confident state, and when he appeared it felt like he was
magical, like it was definitely. And some people say, and like some people say it's like if you feel those butterflies and that spark, run, because that's usually your childhood trauma being triggered, which is definitely what happened too. But it was very divine, for both of us. We're definitely like, I don't know if we're twin flames for sure, but we're definitely had to we mirror each other very much and stuff. So yeah, it was definitely divine for us to learn things either way. Yeah, if that makes sense. Yeah.
For those who don't know what a twin flame is, can you elaborate a little bit what your
is? And I'm not so into this stuff, but a twin flame is just essentially what it sounds like. They're your twin. It's like this flame and this spark, and they're literally the same as you. So from what I understand, a soulmate was one soul, and then it split apart, I think.
I think so.
Or is that a twin flame? I don't know.
I actually don't know. I think the twin flame might be the same one that soul that split apart.
Yeah.
And I heard that that typically when you meet your twin flame, it typically doesn't work out unless it's it takes years, decades before you actually work out with your twin flame, and then decades and decades of not working out.
Yeah.
So it's very fucking rare.
Yeah. It's a relationship to teach you things, to mirror. It's literally mirroring yourself. You're looking at yourself. And so of course when they feel pain and you feel pain, it's a very emotional, triggering type relationship. Yeah.
It's amplified.
It's fire. That's what it is. It's a bunch of fire. Yeah. But it's amazing. It's incredible, but it's also, a lot. It's a lot.
So you guys connected instantly and had, I remember talking to you when you first started dating each other, you were both over the moon with each other. And
yeah, we were both like, this is it. Let's do it. You know? But also what I learned in hindsight, I do feel a little weird. I'm like, if they're watching this, but whatever. Hi. It was instantly he's like, this is my wife. And I took me to all his friends, but I knew inside of my gut that it wasn't, there was something still there that the needs that I had were not getting met. But in hindsight, I realized I had to meet him to pull up the needs that were there, the wounded needs, right?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
So there's
so you kind of knew that you were going to learn a lesson from him, but you weren't sure if he was the one, or...
So he led me to hire a dating coach, right? And what I've learned from dating coaches is men will lay it on strong for 6 months. That's why you want to do the slow burn. You want to see them once a week. You want to like actually date, right? And I've always just jumped into bed with them. I'm like, oh, and I noticed because subconsciously I felt shame because I should only have sex while I'm married because that's how I was raised. I would just make them my boyfriend to make it okay, right?
Oh,
so,
yeah, I know that.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, everyone's journey is different. But for me, like, I knew that we actually waited to have sex for a while because it was one of those things where I was like, okay, if this is the one, I'm at that level, I'm going to do something different. Where, like, normally I'd sleep with them in 2 or 3 dates kind of thing, you know? So, which, there's nothing wrong with that. There's, you know, I don't want anyone to think. It's just for me, I'm to the point where I'm like, I will literally wait till there's I don't know if I want to wait till I'm married, but it's like I will wait
true commitment.
6 months, a year to have sex if it's like I really want to get to know this person. Yeah. Because then the sex is just that much better kind of thing. Where But like I know even in your situation, it's like the sex can be good. There are situations where you have the sex and it works out, you know. But let's all be honest. Statistically, it does. Sex complicates things. It does. Especially for women, it's like you can't see clearly when you're just, you know, and taking their energy inside of you all the time. It's just a real thing. You do become one flesh. So,
it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, even for me, when I slept with Dylan, we hung out the first night and we slept together. I felt a lot of shame because I really was trying to find my person, and I knew that wasn't the way to go about it, but I let it happen. Yeah. And so I even had to take away, I actually took sex back off the table for a couple months.
That. Yeah. Which is, a lot of people do that, and that's brilliant.
Yeah. And it's actually like very interesting. It's interesting to see that he stuck around because I feel like most people definitely wouldn't.
And that's how you know you have a high value, purpose driven type man who's not just in it for sex. Like obviously that's important to them, and it's important to us too. Yeah. Like we love sex, but it's really like it's not going to fulfill you if
especially not women. I mean, men can be fulfilled with just sex for a while because that's like their innate nature, but for us intimacy is so much deeper.
So much more. Yeah. Yeah, no, I know men feel love through just the sex too, but and we're definitely wired different. But that's even what I've been learning from the dating coach is like women feel bad. It's like attracting a super masculine, like a real man as women, especially like us, reprogramming our ability to receive and like actually be feminine and like actually lean back and let him do things, which I know we both struggle with. So yeah. But I think your question was just, did I know he was the one, right? Like, I felt like he was, but I wasn't ready. In hindsight, I can see now, like, I wasn't ready for an actual committed relationship. I had to go pull out some of the stuff was still in me. Like, again, there's no judgment. It was just, like, I saw the promiscuity, like, the things about me that were still just, like, there were ways that I lied and, like, things that I did. And, like, it was a very painful relationship because it was literally a mirror. I had to look at my shit and just, okay, you really want a person like that? Then you got to be the type of woman that would attract a man like that. Not just on paper, not just on Instagram, not just on a podcast, but, like, in the secret, you know? Yeah. Like, the stuff that only God, the universe knows. Yeah. And that's what I had to get down to, so, yeah.
Was it difficult dating somebody who, because, so, he was a rapper, right?
Yeah,
or he is.
Yeah, he's makes music and he's aspiring still to do that, and that was a big, because I saw my dad cheat on my mom growing up, so it was like, there was a lot of stuff I had to heal, just insecurities, being a redhead, like different little things in my mind, you know. But I don't know what your question was, but yes,
more so just if it was difficult to date someone in that industry.
That's literally why it didn't work out in my mind. So I was very much from the beginning like, because he was like, you're the one, here we go, kind of thing. And I'm here like, yes, hot, amazing guy, like, yes, let's do this. But as I got further into it, I saw his purpose and what he wanted to do, which I told you, I align with that. And, like, if anyone can help you with that, like, I could, for sure. But, because I like to party and have fun. Yeah. But I told him, I'm like, but I want, like, a conscious rapper who's doing this and that. And I think he wants that and he's doing that. But also, there's still stuff in him, like, again, I don't want to put all his business out there, but, like, there's still stuff in him that he's dealing with, like, his mom and his dad around, you know, he didn't know his real father. His mom is a party woman. You know, I met him and his mom drinking. I met her at the same time as him, so. She's super fun. He took his mom to the trip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
See, I feel like when guys do that for me is like such a, ooh, like, you brought your mom?
He's
like,
a good guy.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm, like, even hesitating on here, because I'm, like, I definitely still have, like, feelings and, like, hope it would work out. But ultimately, I think we're both understanding that we both are on the same page, like, we met for a reason, and we don't regret it. But, like, we both really hurt each other. Yeah. And so that's what I'm saying, like, we wanted it to be that. I think we both want that whole thing, like, the wife and the husband, like, that whole ordeal, but, like, we both have to deal with all of our stuff first.
Yeah.
But either way, yeah, like, he never, from what I can tell, he never had the problems with, like, cheating as much and stuff, where, like, that was so in my subconscious that I'm, like, it's just funny looking. I'm like, I need a man. It's like I almost want a man that doesn't follow anyone and does. But then I had to look at myself and I'm like, okay, well, I'm connected to all these guys. Like, our whole friend group is, like, hot guys. Like, so it's just, it's just, I get it. And that's where.
I know that feeling, though, because I have issues with cheating. My dad cheated on my mom all the time. And the worst part is that my dad wasn't an obvious cheater. Yeah. Like, he was, like, my mom loved him. And he just freaking always showed up, best dad, like, happy dad, whatever. And then on the weekends, just off. You know, off, like, finding other women. Okay. And so that, to me, was very difficult because it's like, I love my dad, but he's hurting my mom, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just it's so normal. It's real.
And it's been interesting to navigate because Dylan doesn't have that either. And so...
Yeah, we're very similar, yeah.
Yes. When I get triggered...
It's like, I will kill you.
Yeah. Or, like, I get self-destructive, right? Or, like, very stoic. Down. And all of a sudden, I'm doing me. Like, I don't...
I would say to him, I'm like, well, I'm going to go and do this, F these guys. Yeah. And it was just... And now I look back, I'm like, damn, like, we're cold.
Yeah. So, it's easy to turn that on because it's,
and that's what's happening to the world now. Yeah. That's what girls have been so hurt by that now we're freaking Meg the Stallions. I don't need a man, I got my vibrator type girl. Yeah. Which is good, right? We need a little correction. And my thing now is, like, girls, like, if I have a theory, if every girl would just close her legs for, like, a month and just, you know, like, men would start acting more like chivalrous men again. I think like, it's just a fact, you know? And, like, they
start being put in their place because then they know they can't just go out there and get it from everyone.
And then men secretly want that, from what I can understand. Like, they want the challenge, you know? Like, they want to respect. They want to feel chivalrous and their hero energy activated and all that stuff. So, but cheating is a very strong, and that's what I realized through this relationship, and probably it's like, wow, this is me. Yeah. But also, you kind of, like, back to the rapper thing, I'm like, maybe I'm not the one to be with a man like that who's going to be in that environment. Because he never did anything to make me feel like I never found anything. You know what I mean? It was just more like you're in that environment.
Do you think it was just so just the environment that made you feel unsafe in the relationship? Because if he didn't show any... Yeah. Because I feel like the environment would definitely make me feel unsafe.
Any girl would feel that way. Yeah, exactly. And I told him, I'm like, if you're trying to be like Drake, like, I'm not... That's not me. But if you want to be, you know, more of a conscious affirmation type rapper, like, fuck yeah. Like, that's totally in alignment with me. Like, I love that, you know, and I love music and stuff. Yeah. But, yeah, and I think for him, too, like, he feels like that's his purpose. But I also feel like our purpose, like, even me, I can see how how I made millions of dollars, which is rare as a woman or whatever. It's like, it was my drive to get my love of my father. Right? It was like this prove myself in the beginning until I actually got to the point where I had hundreds of $1,000s in my bank account. I was living in my penthouse, like all the things, but I was like depressed, right? And so I think he's just he's literally right behind me on that journey where, like, he got the car, he's got that, he's doing that. And, like, I think he needs to go on that journey and realize.
And, like, be on his own for a little bit?
Yeah, it's not going to fill you up. And I don't know. That's his journey. I feel like
we all have to do that.
We do. Even, like, me. I'm like, I go out to Old Town, and I'm like, this is the same shit. Like, why am I doing this? You know?
You hit a point where you just get tired of the material things, and it just doesn't serve you anymore.
Literally, because it's all temporary.
That was me when we were going through, like, actually, I met you when I was in my crazy party phase still.
Yeah.
That was how I started feeling. I started feeling drained every time. But it was literally like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
It's addicting. It's like, okay, I feel like crap. What's going to make me feel better instantly? Let me go be with these friends again. But you really do. My mom always says, when you're done, you'll be done.
Yeah.
And that's
a good way to approach it.
Have grace with yourself,
Yeah.
So
having grace with yourself, that's something easier said than done.
Yeah, we all judge ourselves, but it's like anything, and that's another thing I learned with men. Men do not change when we're like, you don't do this, you do that, but when you're like, I feel this way, and it's all about how you approach it. So it's the same thing with yourself. If you're like, Bri, you're always doing this, Donna, you're always doing this, if you're like, let that little judgment voice go off in your head, like, it's not gonna push you to change. It's gonna push you to go be a rebellious child.
Side,
but if you're like, I love the part of me that wants to go smoke my brains out right now, I love the part of me that wants to go fuck around, like, that's just real. Like, we all have that urge, but when you understand it's a gift, because you have a sexual urge to create, and that's a good thing, but when it becomes an obsession or like an addiction, that's a wound, and it's all stuff to look at. So
Well, I wanted to go back into, I guess, the relationship and how you learned a lot from it, because it wasn't a horrible relationship. There was just moments that were more challenging or triggering, right? So it brought up
it was
a lot
long
of stuff.
Distance too. That's
Long
a big part of it. Yeah,
I wouldn't be able to do it. I wanted to know what things were you able to dig up from being in this relationship, and what did you learn from those things?
The first thing was, it pulled out just how insecure I really was. I feel like I still struggle with that, but like, I don't know if you're into like life path numbers, if you've heard of that stuff. Everyone has a life path number based on like their birthday and stuff. So I'm like 4 or something.
Oh, yes.
There's a whole book on it. Yeah, I don't even know for sure. I'm kind of into this stuff, but I think we create a reality too.
Yeah. I like looking at it for relatability.
It's all just like a point of reference or whatever. But for me, it was like, my life path is overcoming insecurity. Or like, that's always going to be my thing. Like, his life path was expression, learning how to express himself. So one issue why, to kind of go back to even what we were just talking about, and I'll get back to what I was saying, is a big struggle for us was, I'm huge on physical touch because of the sexual abuse, I think. Where some people, when they're sexually abused, go one way, right, where they don't want to be touched. I went the other way, where I was like, I want to be touched, right? Yeah. And so he's not very physical touch. So that was like a big reason I didn't get that needs. Plus, he's in these environments with women, so that's what really triggered me and stuff.
Oh,
so that was
I can see how that could,
yeah. Where had I felt like secure, like, I actually like the energy of my man being out around women, and if we trust each other, like, that's hot to me. Like,
and if you were being pleased in that area, or had more of it, you would just be
more accepting.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing. So he pulled up, because I don't think I'm naturally insecure. Like, I am naturally insecure, but like, I've grown my confidence so much just through like business and stuff and speaking. But with him, like, he just pulled up
people
the
can
deepest
do that
layers of insecurities.
Yeah. Well, you loved him. And you loved him.
Yeah.
So
the first lesson, so my point is, the first lesson was just, don't be insecure. Like, what the fuck do I have to be insecure about? And seeing that I'm choosing my vibe off of the story in my head. Like, I literally just posted this yesterday. Like, the lesson I learned was that I'm with this person and I'm experiencing something, and there's a whole dialogue of the story in my head, just like anything. And whatever I allow will manifest.
Yeah.
It just will.
Is there a way to shut up those voices?
It's a choice. That's why even the Bible says, choose this day, life or death.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally the whole point of all of this, is when you start to wake up to your power of, like, you are literally the one allowing these thoughts.
Yeah.
But not, like you said, no one's aware.
Yeah.
So how do you do it? There's no secret. It's just consciousness. Again, like the Bible, I'll quote the Bible because I was raised Christian. It's like, it literally says, take your thoughts captive and submit them. So I literally just visualized my thoughts, and like, I grab them. I'm like, okay, yes or no.
You're like, never mind, I don't want this.
Literally, it's like, how does this make me feel?
Yeah.
Do I feel shame? Do I feel fear? Even the religious trauma, that's kind of where I'm at, is learning about my religious stuff, is the fear of hell or the fear of this. And, like, how does that make me feel? Makes me feel bad. Makes me feel scared. Makes me feel shame. So, like, that's not from God. That's not from God.
Yeah.
But religion will make you think, it'll give you fear.
Yeah.
God is not fear. He's not shame. He's not guilt. It's none of that. It's literally love. That's it. Oh, how do you control it? It's just a choice.
Yeah.
It's literally a choice.
I think Dylan has his method to cancel those thoughts. He literally, KT, Kevin Trudeau, right?
Yeah, Kevin Trudeau has changed my life.
Yeah,
your wish is your command. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so he was, I guess Dylan follows his strategy of when something pops up like that, he says, cancel. Yeah. And he tries to cancel out the thoughts.
It's literally...
It actually does work.
It works. Like, the more your reality is not what you like even right now, I listen... This is going to sound crazy, but, like, I listen to affirmations without doing anything else for, like, 4 hours a day.
Really? Do you sleep with affirmations?
I fall asleep with them.
Yeah.
Right now I am, because I really am ready for my man, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm manifesting that.
Yeah.
And that's even what I told the last guy, I was like, we never became official, because the whole time I was like, okay, is this going to happen? I'm going to keep my options open. And, like, I never actually was. Where now I've learned as a woman, it's really powerful to, like, keep your options open and date around and court, and the right man will claim you, just like Dylan did, Yeah. So, but yeah, cancel. What I was saying is, literally, in that tape, Kevin Trudeau, it talks about, like, everything. Like, if you pop a tire, like, that's, oh my gosh, my tire just blew. I'm so excited. Like, what's going to happen? It's just, like, literally only, the two things he teaches is only think about what you want and feel good now.
Yep.
Only think about what you want and feel good now. And literally, I love that you brought that up, because those are the two things that, like, I was like, that's what all my content is. That's, like, everything. Yeah. It's all that.
Because you really can create everything that you want.
You can.
If you don't allow those other negative thoughts to flood your mind.
Yeah.
Which is something that does take a lot of practice.
It's a lot of practice. It's a lifelong thing.
It is.
And then when you realize the moment is the only thing that is really here right now, like I always say, the past and the future are just in your head. It's like, then you just, that's what I'm saying, just chill out and know that, like, everything you want is here right now. Yeah. Even how Dylan was like, it's done. I was like, yeah, it's done. That's my favorite. It's already done.
Yeah, it's already done.
Like, my husband, my dream one, like, everything I want, the millions of dollars, like, all of that is there is a quantum reality of all things. All realities exist. Yeah. You are the one choosing it. Yeah. And it's such a mind fuck. Like, a lot of us can't even, like, wrap our minds around it.
Yeah. It's a hard concept to grasp, but when you get the idea and you have faith, I feel like you can just fall into it.
Yeah. And it really does become easier.
Yeah.
It's just like anything.
Yeah.
Riding your bike, podcasting. Just
practice.
Yeah, there is the physical part of it and the masculine side of things, because you have to, how lame would it be to just have everything?
Life would be boring, honestly.
Yeah, we need that, that resistance and those lessons. It makes it fun. Yeah. But when you can shift from, like, it's all cliche stuff we've heard, but, like, it's not happening to you. Yeah. It's happening for you.
Yeah. That slogan.
That part.
One thing I wanted to ask, so for this relationship, I know you've said that you're looking for your husband, but you've been with him for a little bit. Was there a reason why, at least to your understanding, why you couldn't let go of it quicker or sooner?
It was an attachment, like an addiction, basically, because he pulled up those deep insecurities, which addiction comes when we can't attach to, like, our mother or father, usually.
Oh, wow.
So I can see how, like, I never felt safe to attach emotionally to them. So then he pulled all that up. So it was like a mother, like, it was like a parent wound. It was...
Because did he hold space for you when you were going through those moments pretty well, so that you felt like...
Yes and no. Like, in the beginning, when I would open up, like, I shared about the rape with him, he was very, like, open, but it's the classic situation where, like, he can't hold space for me because he hasn't held space for himself yet.
Oh, got it. Okay.
And it really was, like, me trying to fix him and help him a lot in the beginning.
Yeah. Because
that's some people go the other way where they just need to be a baby and everyone takes care of them. Like, I went the way of, like, I'm gonna take care of the whole freaking world.
Yeah.
Which is how I got where I am, and, like, now I'm known for, like, partying and stuff, and that's what I was telling him, like, I've been throwing these parties, I've been doing all this stuff, but, like, that's me, like, my true self, but, like, my true self is transitioning into, like, deeper stuff, if that makes sense. So.
How are you feeling now that you're coming to an end with this relationship? Like, how do you feel as a woman, like, renewed?
Yeah, and that's the thing I think we were going to touch on this, is, like, I'm so grateful for that relationship. All of us are so grateful for our relationships because we learn so much.
Yeah.
But things, when you go past the expiration date, whether or not, like, let's say he was my husband in a couple of years, or it's, like, very clearly we went past the expiration date because that's when, like, chaos started happening.
Yeah.
The first year was, like, really good. We learned a lot of lessons, but, like, this last year, my sales started going down in my business. Like, I had no motivation. I was smoking hella weed every day, all day. Like, so getting out of that, and just literally, there's no secret to anything. It was just as simple as just getting out of it. Like, sales are right back up. Like, everything. I haven't been smoking. I'm in therapy. Like, all of it. We're about to smoke, but all these.
This is for fun.
But I was smoking all day, every day.
Yeah.
Like, waking. It was like a painkiller.
You were escaping.
Weed's a painkiller. Yeah. So it's like you feel this pain and you're just gonna escape from it. Literally.
Yep.
Yeah. So now I'm, like, just so. I have more motivation to do stuff. My sales are back up. Like, Bri's back is what I said. And, like, I knew he didn't want to let the relationship go, but he could tell, like, we both knew it was, like, bringing out the worst in us.
Yeah.
So there's so much love there, and there always will be. Always.
So is he supportive? I mean, has he also let go of his grasp on this relationship, would you say?
I think he's starting to.
Yeah.
I don't know. We haven't talked, so I don't know. I hope so, but, like, I would be lying if I wouldn't say, of course, there's still a part of me that, like, wants it to work, but... And I've been manifesting it to work, if I'm being honest. But it's also, like, an unattachment where I'm seeing the vision of what I wanted it to be, and I'm feeling that versus, like, what it was in the beginning. I'm going back to those good feelings, even though it's not him that I'm manifesting necessarily, but it's, like, him or someone better. Better for me, right? Yeah. So it's, like, either way, I've gotten sign after sign, and we had, we went to Sedona. There were so many spiritual things, like, we were a match made in heaven, right? Yeah. But it's just very clear whether or not that's this side of heaven or whatever. Like, we're divinely connected, just like you and I are. Yeah. We're all connected. Yeah. Like, you meet people that, like, you're one of those people to me. But it's just, I'm just doing way better without that relationship right now. And that's just the moment that I'm in. So I'm not questioning. I'm so surrendered. It's like, whatever God has for me.
So that's such a good place to be.
Yeah,
I think when you start trying to grasp control over a situation, that's when you know you don't have the control.
Literally, you never. That's the thing. Control is an illusion.
Yeah.
But again, when you recognize the only control you have is your thoughts.
Yes.
That makes you feel good and, like, empowered. You're like, okay, well, at least I can control my thoughts.
Yeah.
And then it's just supernaturally you feel better, and then God is, it's like, and I say God because I know you're going through that journey too, but it's like God really is just like, okay, you're ready. You've learned that it's not about anything external. It's literally...
It's you. It's internal.
Your moment. It's just, and if all things are stripped away from you, who are you? Yeah. And that's the true thing of the human experience, right? We're all here to... die at some point, right? Like, it's just like true. It's just like coming to that moment where you're just like, I don't care about any of this stuff anymore. Yeah. So it's like, what? I mean,
without the concept of death too, we wouldn't even be living the lives that we desire to have. Yeah. Because then we'd be like, oh, we'll just be alive forever. So what's the point of even chasing that dream? What's the point of chasing that relationship or feeling that excitement or anything? Really?
Yeah. Which is why we need the death.
Yeah.
But also when you start to think that you are eternal and it's like, whatever, I'm going to die, but I'm not going to die. Yeah. You and I are never going to die. Yeah. So it's kind of a mind, we can't even humanly wrap our brains around it.
No. I don't want to.
Right. But it gives you that freedom of, like, why do I care about any of this? Yeah. So I think it's like a masculine and feminine balance almost, right? Where it's like surrendered, you're chill. Yeah. But also, we need that. Okay, we do have a deadline. And there are people that need help, and there are things to do, and, like, we feel better. Humans feel better when we're striving and doing things. It's just a fact. If you just sit around and meditate all day, you're going to be depressed. So yeah, it's a balance.
Do you think that relationships, whether man or woman, are a driving factor in everything else that happens in your life? Do you feel like human connection is a strong...
It's everything.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying, is we're chasing masculine and feminine unity. We're chasing wholeness. If you think about like divinity, it's not masculine or feminine, it's complete. It's whole. So it's like we're all just chasing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the sexual energy, the like, especially men, from what I've understood, like women are the breath, we're the life, we're the energy, and men are like the structure, right? So it's like we're always going to be chasing our opposite.
Yeah.
To feel that feeling of wholeness. Yeah, relationships and men and women is like huge. Yeah. It's a huge driving force to everything.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's that way, but it's definitely that way.
I try to think about that too. I'm like, if everything else that's been given to us in this world, why is it that human connection is the one that we need? Like, we physically, and I read this in a book, I can't remember what book, but we can physically die from being lonely, just from that feeling of being lonely. And human connection is, and socializing in general, is just as necessary as like your sleep or your breathing. And to me, the concept of that sounds a little wild, because I'm like, I can obviously go months without talking to somebody. I mean, yeah, my mental would be a little fucked up, but I mean, you can survive quite a bit without interacting with people. But if we lack human connection, like, it could be just as detrimental to our life as everything else. So
well, we're all one. We're one. I'm just gonna relate it to the Bible, because that's like how I can physically make a reference of it, but it's in all religions from what I understand. But like the law of oneness is we're all one soul. We're all the divinity. So yeah, I think the enemy or dark energy or whatever is intentionally creating like more separation in the world right now through social media. That's a whole subject. But yeah, we're meant to be the body. We're meant to be all together as one body. Yeah. So we need that. But
to understand each other more.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah.
I love that. Damn, I feel like that hour went by
so quick. I was like, there's no way. But
yeah, well.
I'm down for the next part, though.
I know. So we will wrap this up, because I think that was a really good note to end on. Human connection is super, super important, which is why I'm super happy that this is what my podcast centers around, is human connection, bringing us back to that. So Bri, thank you for sharing your story. And we're going to jump into the high session. So Altered state!
Altered state!